Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, guys. I hope you guys are doing well and enjoying with my video. So this video is also from the Python playlist, and today's video is very much important. Whenever you write a production grade code, there will be 1,000 line of code, and it is important that to take care of each line of code. Just think, if any one line create a problem, your entire execution will break, right? So in that case, to handle those error at specific point and a specific line of code, it is important to let the code to execute without any hassle, right? So for this, we have to understand the exception handling, and today's video will discuss exception handling. So let me share my screen, and in detail we understand what is exception handling, how do we handle those errors, how we add those exception handling in the code. So let me share my screen. Perfect. So what is exception? I would say exception is the event that occur whenever there is any default, or you can say error in the code. Okay, so I have given the definition also. An exception is an error that occurs during the execution of a program and stop the normal flow of the program. It means if there is any error in the code, it will stop the execution completely. To handle that, we have to understand the exception handling. So first, let's try to understand that why do we need exception handling. So for example, let's say you go to ATM. In the ATM, you enter the PIN to withdraw the money or check the balance. But unfortunately, you have entered the wrong PIN. In that case, does ATM stop working? Does ATM shut down completely? No, it just gives the result on the screen that wrong input entered, right? So that is also a kind of an error, guys, right? That is also a kind of error which has been handled, but it does not affect the other operation of the ATM. Similar way, we have to handle the error in the code so that the other functionality or other execution of the code does not get affected. So now let me show you very simple example of error. So what I'll do, first I'll take A equal to 10 and B equal to, let's say, 0. And if I write over here A divided by B, you will get the 0 division by 0 error over here. Perfect. So this is a kind of error. And if I write over here other code, let's say again X equal to 10 and Y equal to 20, and print X plus Y over here. Okay, and if you try to run this code, it is breaked over here and it does not allow to run these codes, right? But if I write same code with, let's say, try, and over here A equal to 10 and B equal to 20, perfect, and over here except, and over here print division by 0. I'll write this over here. Okay, and then over here it should be actually result equal to let's say print A divided by B. That I have to write, and this should be 0, guys, not a 20. Perfect. After that, I'll write this line of code. All good. Now let's try to execute this. See, division by 0 and you got 30 also, means this error has been handled by this try and except, and it also allowed to run this line of code. So that is nothing but a exception handling, and this is what we are going to understand in detail. So what is try and what is except over here? Whenever you want to handle the error, we always write a code between your try and except, but in layman term we say try and catch. Okay, so whatever the error has occurred in the try block, it will be cached by the exception block, and it will also allow the next flow of code. So that is what we are going to understand, how many type of exception we have and what are the other way of handling things. So before that, we also need to understand the type of error we have. See, the type of error is, I would say, it's not someone can count on the finger, but there are certain type of error which every developer should know. So the very first one is syntax error, right? The very first one is syntax error. The second one is logical error. The third one is type error. And the fourth one is value error. And fifth one is index error. So these are some basic error that people should know whenever you are writing a code. So what is syntax error? If you miss any kind of semicolon or any kind of a parenthesis or something, that it will give the syntax error. So let's understand the very first one, syntax error. Let's say that I've written over here, if true, print I am from if block. Perfect. So in this, if you just remove this part and try to run this, if you remove this and try to run this, it is accepted this. This is a syntax error. What happened? I have just written this line of code, okay, and I intentionally want to ignore this one, the colon, okay, and I'll try to execute this. As soon as you execute this, you get the syntax error, expected this code. Perfect. So this is called a syntax error. Now next is logical error. So logical error sometime won't get printed, but I'll try to show what is a logical error. So let's say you have a equal to 30 and b equal to 20, okay, and area equal to 20 plus 30, and if you want to print this, you will get the answer, but logically it's a wrong. Area cannot be 20 plus 30, it should be 20 into 30, right? So that is a logical error, guys. Now type error. So we understand this type error now. So in type error, x equal to, I'll write 5, and y equal to, I'll write 10, and I'll try to print x plus y. So if you just try to execute this, you will get the type error. Can only concatenate str, not into str. That is called type error, because one of the variable type is str and one of the variable type is int. Perfect. So now let's see the next error, which is value error. So what will happen in the value error? In the value error, let's write over here inputs equal to int, and over here input, enter your age. Perfect. And over here let's try to print the input. Now as soon as you execute this line of code is expecting the integer, right? But as soon as you execute this, and if you write over here a b c, that is the str, what you get? You get the value error over here. Perfect. And it will not allow the further line of code to execute, of course, right? So next error which we are discussing over here is an index error. I think you will be very much familiar what is the index error. So whenever, let's say, we have one list, once I say list, you will understand what is index error. So I have L1 equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. So what is the total index over here? 0, 1, 2, 3. But if you write L1 of 5, so you'll get the index error over here. So these are the basic error, and there is a lot of error actually. But we as a developer, we are as a data scientist, or you can say AI developer, whatever you call, we no need to by heart all those errors. We have the exception handling that will take care of the error. It will show that which kind of error is this. Okay, how? Let me show you that. So we will write all this line of code, whichever we have written over here for generating the error using the try and except. What is try and except? I think I have already explained that. This is one of the method of handling the error. So what I'll do over here is that, let's say I have one list. This list I have it over here. Okay. And over here I'll write, let's say try and L of, let's say 5. And over here except, and over here print error. So it will just show one line of code, that is error, and it will not show 4-5 line of code. That is too much horrible to see what happened with my code. You will be thinking that it is just showing the error. So how we'll know what kind of error it is throwing? So for that, what we will do, we'll write over here exception as a E, and over here error and comma E. Perfect. Now try to execute this. Error name L is not defined. Okay, L. So let's write over here L1 because I have given the L1 for the list, right? So I have to take same L1 over here. Now try to execute this. Error list index out of range. So you understand from this error that your list index is out of range, correct? So that is the error we have. List index out of range, same error it is showing over here, but it is not horrible like this 4 to 6 line of error. Your question will be that what is this exception, what is E, and how it can give the exactly same error what is reflecting over here. So exception is the parent class of the exception which have all kind of exception. What does it mean? So exception is the parent class in Python, and it has all kind of error already available. So whenever you write exception as a E, it means that you are calling the parent class, and when you are calling the parent class, it will try to understand this line of code what kind of error it is throwing, and it will try to show you over here. And what is E over here? E is nothing but a object of this exception. Now it will be too much for you, right? What is object, what is parent class, right? It's a bit confusing, right? Now let's go to the Google. Let's go to the Google, and over here we will just write exception. We will write over here exception parent class. Parent class in Python. Now, so you have a Python documentation over here. In the Python documentation, just go to built-in exception. So see, built-in exception in Python, all exception must be instance of the class that derive from the base exception in a try statement with an except. So what does it mean? The exception is a built-in parent class already in the Python which have all kind of error available. Okay, as soon as you call this in your try and except over here, it will try to understand what kind of error it is trying to throw, and it will guess that error and it will pass to this E. Why it will pass to E? Because E is the object of this. You can say a kind of a kind of a replica. Exception is known as a E, means it will have a, it will guess what kind of error it has and it will transfer to E. Why? Because exception as E. So I'm using E over here as an alias. So something like I have given one simple name to this. It's simple as that x equal to 10. So 10 is the integer which is already stored into the x. Similar way, exception is the inbuilt parent class which have all kind of error, and it will try to guess what kind of error this line of code is throwing. How? Through this except. This error will accept by this, and it will try to match under the exception, and whatever the error it is, it will pass to E. Why? Because exception is E, 10 is X, similar way, and it will try to print over here. So what are the things we have into the E? You can also want to check what is the type of this. Let's write the type and try to execute this. So class index error. Now the question is, what are the contexts this E is containing? So E is containing the error message, type of error, and context information. So the error message which already it is trying to show over here, that is the error message. Error type, that is nothing but index error, it is showing that. And also context information. What is the context information over here? Like list. So it is a list, right? It is a list. So it is giving the context that it is a list, and it has a the error is index out of range. That is the error over here. Perfect. So this is how you can handle the exception, means error. Now if you want, let's try to execute this also. So what I'll do over here, I will pass this, and I will, let's use this under the try, print input. Okay, and over here except exception as E. Perfect. And now print over here your E. Write over here, let's say X, and enter. So I think it should be also over here. Now try to execute this. Write over here X, C, let's say. Invalid literal for int with base 10 C. So see, very simple error it is throwing. It is not like a horrible like this. So this is the magic of your try and except, and this is also known as try and catch, which try to catch the error. Perfect. Now there are certain error we try to raise that. In which scenario we raise the error? Let's see the example of that. So what I'll do over here, I will take the age for the voting. So it should be integer, and input, enter your age. Perfect. Now if your age is greater than 18, then print what you will print? You are good to go. Okay, else raise value error, and over here age is less than 18. Now let's try to execute this line of code. I'll write over here 17, and you will see that age is less than 18, and it is giving the value error over here, and this is showing with that horrible error message, right? So this is how you can sometime raise the error as well. Then you can handle this also. How you can handle this? So what you will do over here, you will write over here try. Perfect. And all these under the try, and over here catch, means except exception as E, and print your E. Perfect. Now let's try to execute this, and I'll write 17. Age is less than 80. You are getting this message. And if you, let's say, write age is over here more than 18. Now let's try to execute this also. I'm writing 4. Age is more than 18. But I enter 4. So what I'm trying to show over here, that I'm creating the error, value error, with the raise is the keyword over here. So a raise is the keyword which is manually triggering the error, and that error I am handling through this. So you can understand what I am doing over here. I am triggering manually the error, and error message is this. Whatever I am writing under the error message, same message are transferred to this exception and we are getting over here. So this is one of the example where you can manually trigger the error, and that you can handle through the try and catch. Perfect. Now let's see the next example, guys. Now let's write one piece of code to understand the complete flow and some kind of a mini project over here. So what I'll do over here, let's write over here def read file over here, file path, and this path will be str. So I'm giving the hint to the user that they should always pass the file path as a string. Okay, then over here we will check the path is string or not, and over here what we'll write, we will write the try block. After this with open your file path in read mode. Okay, in read mode as a file, and then over here content equal to file dot read lines. Perfect. This is what we have, and then over here return content. In this scenario we can have a multiple error. One error can be that file not find, or maybe the file is corrupted, something. So we'll write over here exception except file not found error. Perfect. And after that file not found error, so what I'll write over here, print file not found, and then over here accept exception as a e, and you write over here print e. Perfect. Now let's try to execute this, and now let's take this read a file path equal to sample.txt, which is not existing right now, guys. Okay, so I'll take the read file and just pass over here this file path. Try to execute this, file not found. This error we are getting. Perfect. Now let's say that this time I'll not pass as a string, I'll pass as a something else, 1 2 3, let's say. Now try to execute. The handle is invalid. Perfect. So this is how you can write your code into the try and catch, that is except, so that it will not show the horrible 4 or 5 line of error, and with that the flow will also continue. So if you want, it will continue the flow. If you want, let's say I'll have one code over here, def addition a comma b, okay, and then over here try write over here return a plus b, and over here accept exception as a e, and then over here print your e. Perfect. Now let's try to execute the second line of code over here. That will be addition of 10 comma 20. Perfect. Now let's execute this line of code and then execute this line of code. So see, we have the error over here which has been handled, but it does not stop the next line of code to execute. It has executed and we have a 30 as a response. This is how the exception handling is important whenever you write a production grade of code. If one piece of code is not working, it will not interrupt the other one to execute. So I hope with this it is clear, guys. Thank you so much for bearing with me. If you like this video, please don't forget to share, like and subscribe. See you in the next video. Thank you so much.